Welcome to Wars and Wisdom, a series designed to educate, provoke insight and inspire a deeper understanding and perspective. Now here's your host, Sam.
Welcome to Wars and Wisdom. My name's Sam, and I'm going to be the host of this series. Now, probably by first glance, you're thinking that this series is going to be me talking about stories of the war and the wisdom that I have possibly acquired. You're not wrong in that. However, when I talk about the wars, I'm talking about the wars that I have personally fought in my own mind, have fought in my own life, have fought with people against, and situations that I have gained incredible wisdom from. I realized not long ago that there are a lot of situations that I've gone through in my life that quote unquote are not normal, that a lot of people have not necessarily experienced and gone through and had to work through and heal from. And in turn, it's given me a lot of insight and a lot of perspective. Over time, a lot of people have come to me when they have had issues, when they wanted advice, when they wanted to see things from a different perspective. And I realized that because I had been through all the things that I had, I was able to give that. And we finally got to a place where we thought, oh, actually, that might actually be really helpful for people, especially at a time when healthcare costs are extremely expensive. Therapy is extremely expensive. A lot of people are turning to AI. A lot of people are turning to holistic therapies. A lot of people are turning to a lot of different modalities because they want answers and insight and they want to gain perspective and knowledge, but everything is expensive AF right now. So I totally get it. So I am here to create a series that talks about the wisdom and insight and knowledge I have acquired from walking through the fires of my own personal life and journey, and to come out on the other side to share them with you. Because I truly feel like that is one of the main reasons why I went through all of the destruction that has happened in my life, so that I can give those insights and perspectives to people who either may go through it, are going through it, or who may be able to help somebody that is going through it. So a little bit about me so we can get a little bit more acquainted with one another. My name's Sam. I'm a spiritual life coach. I'm an aura reader. I have a background working in mental health and eating disorders. I used to be an esthetician working in the skincare industry. I'm a creator. I'm a writer. I'm an author. I'm an inventor. I do a lot of things. I love creative shit. I'm a lover of interior design. I love animals. Few fun facts about me when I was a little kid. I used to love Gushers. They were one of my favorite snacks. I used to love to collect Pogs, Beanie Babies, Hanson, Spice Girls, watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the Doodle Bear, one of my favorite toys as a kid. I also, too, loved Mary-Kate and Ashley. They were my go-to when I needed to solve crimes as a kid. I don't watch these true crime shows. When I was a kid, I was way ahead of the game. I was watching true crime with Mary-Kate and Ashley. That is the length of my true crime that it goes. So, without further ado, welcome back to Wars and Wisdom. On today's series, I wanted to talk about unfavorable work environments and just how, at the time, I think when we are experiencing this, and it's a very unfortunate situation to go through, anybody that has ever been in a hostile, in a very tricky work situation, in a situation where you feel like almost like you're backed up against a corner in your work situation because you can't leave for whatever circumstance, or it's just causing you a lot of stress and anxiety. I send compassion to you because it's not a good situation to be in. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with this and basically what it has taught me in case, somebody is possibly going through a similar situation, or perhaps this is something that may arise in the future, and just kind of kind of give you a little bit of a roadmap on how it affected me and what I took away from the experience of being in that situation. So, a few years back, I was in a position that deep down in my heart, I was not happy having. And I was really excited to get the position essentially. But then when I started working in the job and really learning more about it, I realized very quickly this may not be the best fit for me. So at the time, my partner that I was dating, we decided that we wanted to pick up and move across the country. Like that was going to be the next step in our relationship and just where we really saw ourselves going next. So I had applied for a position that was in the area that we were looking to move, and I got it. And I was ecstatic because I just thought this is the fresh start that we were both craving. And I was really proud of myself because I was going to school full time while I was working in my previous position. And I also was, very stressed out, just ready for a change. So this couldn't have come at a better time. And what's interesting is, now I'm very open with my intuition and my spiritual work and the work that I do and helping others and being able to read energy. At the time, I didn't realize this was my intuition kicking on, but I remember when I was given the job offer, we were to create profiles of all the new hires that were going to be going into this new building. And I remember when I saw the photo of the person I was going to be working with, something in my gut just didn't seem right. And obviously, looking back at my circumstances, I was in a position that I was unhappy with. I was so excited to get this new position and be able to move across the country with my partner, like leave my life behind that I felt was no longer serving me and move on. That I kind of just was like, just push it down, didn't really think much of it. And I ignored that. But I immediately remember that I had this odd inkling feeling when I saw the photo of the person that I was going to be working alongside. And so we move across the country. I get into this new job, and everything starts out, fairly good. We go through our 2-week training where people from corporate come in and they start teaching us things. And, my new position that I got, I was really proud of myself because, like I said, I had just finished up school. Like I had my own office and I was a manager at this facility. So I had a lot of duties and responsibilities, but, I knew that I can handle it, and it was something that I would be able to take on and I believe do very well. And it was a lot of work, you know, the first couple of weeks as everybody was training. And then slowly but surely, some things started to happen with the person that I was working alongside. And we were both having to manage staff, manage the facility, but things were happening that I was catching that at first I kind of wrote off as, okay, it's just a difference in personality styles, difference in managing styles. We'll work with this. We'll be okay. As time progressed, I really started to notice a lack in the person that I was working alongside in wanting to do their job. I noticed things that I was not okay with in regards to having to come together and teamwork on, and just the behavior and how I felt I was being treated. It was just such a lack of respect. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, I literally moved across the country for this position. I was so excited to get it. And now I'm in a situation where I am not really sure how to handle this because in all my years working in the field of mental health, the people that I have gotten to work alongside, I'm very lucky. There's only a handful of people that I will say that I didn't really appreciate working with, but 9 times out of 10, when you go to work in the field of mental health, you're there because you really want to help and make a difference in other people's lives, and your ego, all of the, competitiveness, anything of that nature, that takes a backseat. That's not even a thought because you're there to help other people through very, very difficult things. And so, like I said, I'm not used to working with people where that is a thing, especially in the field of mental health. And so I found myself in this situation where I was just waking up on Sundays dreading Monday. And when that starts to happen, you know that it's not good. It's not good when you are supposed to be enjoying your weekend, but all you can think about is the anxiety that you feel having to go to work because of somebody else. And I documented everything, everything that was transpiring, every incident that I was just like, I'm not okay with that. And the thing of it is, too, with me going into this position and having the years of mental health experience prior to coming on board here, there were things, granted, it was a completely different company and it was a completely different program, but there are, standardizations across the board and, things that you should adhere to as far as conduct goes, that regardless if it's a new program or a new company, being in the field of mental health is kind of standard across the board of like what to do, what you should not do. So I had a good understanding of like, this isn't right. What I'm noticing, what I'm witnessing, this isn't okay for this to be happening. So I had gone to some people at corporate and just voiced my concerns. Like, this is what I'm experiencing. And I really expected the help to help me navigate it, to help me mediate it, to come in and figure out solutions. And I didn't get it. Like, I was really thinking that with everything that I was coming with how in distress, like I was voicing my concerns, that this would sound the alarm of like, okay, something needs to significantly change because this company that I went into, I knew a lot of people that left from my previous company to go work for this company, and like a lot of really good people. So I thought to myself, like, this company is solid. Like, they're not going to take whatever's happening and just let that slide under the rug. Like, they're going to want to address it immediately. But boy, was I wrong in that. So what ended up happening was, even though I took this position, I moved across the country, I uprooted my entire life and was really hopeful and ecstatic for this new and fresh start. I had to come to a very hard decision. Do I stay in a position where I know there are things that are going on that I cannot tolerate, that I cannot put up with, that I'm not getting the help in order to resolve and help mediate situations with, and things that, morally I'm not okay with and that I feel disrespected in going to work with, do I stay in a position and compromise myself, my mental health, my well-being to help others, or do I put myself first in the situation and just step into the unknown and say, I can't do this? I know that I took a big, big chance and risk, and I was so hopeful, and never in a million years did I think that that would happen. And do I take that risk and say, I can't do this anymore and forfeit my position? And I had a lot of sleepless nights trying to come to a conclusion of what I should do. Because at that time, the job market right now is not good. I'll say that. But this was during what they coined the Great Resignation, where a lot of people at the same time were leaving their positions. So I was not only doing this in a very risky time as far as, uprooting and moving across the country, but I was also doing it in a very risky job market with that. And I was very thankful because at the time we were living with my partner's parents. So I had that safety of, if it takes me a little bit longer to find a position, it's not like we are going to be homeless. Like, I had that support and that backing to make that decision. And I think, had I not, I don't know what would have transpired. But I had that support of, like, if you need to do this, you can. But oh my gosh, my ego was so loud when I was trying to make this decision, because like it was a pride thing. Like, I was so proud of myself for finishing school, for getting this new position, for getting, this leadership position, and really taking this on. And it was a lot of things that I worked really hard for. So to just have to let that go because change was not being implemented where change needed to happen, and morally I could not stand behind that. There were a lot of emotions that I felt. A lot of emotions. I felt anger, I felt resentful, I felt defeated, I felt confused, like all of the things I felt. And, you know, I came to the conclusion to leave. And I think for the first 2 weeks, it felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like a weight had been lifted off of my shoulders. And I felt at peace. That lasted about 2 weeks. That lasted about 2 weeks, because then the real anxiety started to set in of like, okay, now you need to really find a new position. And I had always been taught the mentality of like, you don't go into a new position unless you have another lined up. So while all of this chaos was happening at this role that I was previously in, I was, when I would come home on the weekends, looking for things that would align and just throwing my applications out there to see. So, like, I was actively trying to job search towards the very end to see if I could get something that would align prior to my exit, so that I didn't have to feel that anxiety. But I had no luck in that. And, rightfully so. Like I mentioned, it was during the Great Resignation. And so it took me, after I had left that job, about 6 months to find a position. 6 months is a very long time. a very long time of being in uncertainty. And I had a lot of anxiety thinking, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get hired? I mean, I was getting to the point of desperation where I was ready to, take a job that was not even in my field just to have something to have, health insurance and make sure that if in the event of something unfortunate happening, like I would be okay. And I just, yeah, it was very anxiety inducing. I did get a job. It was a better position, but it took me a while. It took me a while. And what it basically taught me throughout the entire process was not only to listen to your intuition, but to get real on what your morals and standards are. And if those are being compromised, to really stand by your decision, not tolerate disrespect, be patient, do what you can, but also too, don't get anxious if things are not seemingly working out for you in the moment. And all of that was incredibly, incredibly hard. But I knew that if I kept on putting the work with applying, if I kept on keeping myself busy, I took up a lot of crafts during that time. I learned how to knit. That was not something that I ever knew how to do. And I actually knitted myself a pretty cool scarf that I use to this day, here and then. But I took up some hobbies during that time. I really, concentrated on what was in front of me rather than what I did not have and what I was striving for. And really, I think my nervous system needed that little break because I was going 100 miles an hour. I was a first responder working in mental health during COVID. So during that time, a lot of people unfortunately lost their positions, lost their careers, lost their businesses. The world of mental health sped up tenfold. So I was always go, 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 go. I didn't get that break like the rest of the world did when the world shut down. So just going, 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 and then going to school full time and then moving across the country. Like, I think it was necessary for me to have that reset and that break, even though I was fighting against it, even though I just wanted to keep on working and going and just keep pushing forward. I think it was truly what I needed, even though I couldn't see it at that time and I was fighting against it at that time. But the reason why I wanted to do this episode is because if you ever truly find yourself in this position of being in an environment where you just feel you're being mistreated, where you feel disrespected, where you feel things that are happening that are not okay and not right, and the company is not doing anything about it, everybody's situation is different. And perhaps you are in a situation where you can't at this moment in time leave that position because of financial responsibility, because of other responsibilities. And if you find yourself in that position, like, I am sending you so much compassion because I stuck it out way longer than I probably should have. And if I didn't leave when I did, I know that it would have taken a toll on my mental health. So if you are in those positions, I'm sending you all the compassion because I know how difficult that can feel, and the stress and anxiety. But what I will say is keep pushing forward as far as looking for other roles that match your skill sets. Have faith and patience because truly we are in such an incredibly tough job market right now. And it was bad during the Great Resignation. I'm sure, 2026, it's the same thing, if not amplified, because of all these different unforeseen circumstances, government shutdowns, a lot of programs closing, a lot of layoffs due to AI and all of these different technologies that are taking over a lot of positions currently. I know how hard it can be to keep on holding out hope that something else will come. But if you morally are doing the right thing, as far as standing in your faith, standing in your values, standing up for what you believe in, and knowing that things are happening that are not okay, and you are doing the right thing and sticking up for yourself, and you're just being met with disrespect or you're just being brushed off, God's got you. God has got you. Your angels have got you. Like, something will open up for you. I know it will. You just have to keep on putting in the work, and also to taking care of yourself in the best way that you possibly can, whether that be engaging in hobbies that you love, whether it be, at the end of the day, just doing things to relax yourself, treating yourself to, if you can, get a massage or, just, something to make you feel better. Maybe it's just like a good smelling candle to warm up your environment from when you come home. But also too, finding creative outlets. Perhaps you have a support group that you can go to, or a group that goes and sightsees or does different things that you can bond with. I'm a part of a bunch of different social groups that sometimes they just go for hikes, sometimes they get together and they volunteer and they do arts and crafts and things of that nature. But being with community and being with people that really can light you up and make you feel good when you are not in that environment is so important. And I know that at the end of the day, when you come home, sometimes that's the last thing that you want to do. But having that support is so beneficial and helpful, because it will lift you out of that funk. It will give you a new perspective on things, and it will be a place where you can go, where you can find comfort when you are feeling so anxious and overwhelmed and stressed. And a lot of the times, people, they want to help, they want to be supportive, and you never know who somebody may know. I think a lot of the times that's where the magic in where I say God, your angels, source, whatever you believe in and subscribe to has got you, because you may very well be looking for a position and come up with no solutions, and you may go to just a meetup group where you go hiking and you happen to voice what's going on, and the person that is in the group overhears and says, oh, our company is actually hiring. Like, you never know where you are being led and guided. And I really truly feel that the universe helps those who help themselves. And if you are actively trying to help yourself through difficult situations, you will be met with support when you least expect it. So I hope this series helped. I really hope that it gave you a little bit of a perspective of what it's like to be in these situations, how unfortunate it can be, but also too that there is hope, that there is something better on the other side. It just takes patience, it takes resilience, and it takes standing up for what you believe in and not letting go of your values and compromising on your well-being and your mental health. Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for our next episode.